So with borders, there are two properties that you must have in order to see the border. You have to give it a width and you have to give it a style. But commonly you also usually have three properties, an additional one of color. Otherwise it'll take on the browser default color. But the first two, you have to have them. So let's go ahead and add a border to our section. Because I'm going to continue a property and value set, I need to add a semicolon there. And I'm going to add border dash width. And as I start to type any of these properties in, if you type it in the way you're supposed to, you'll again see these drop-down menus that happen. So I could have chosen from that menu. Because I'm on a certain computer setup that actually takes a little too much time to go over there. So I'm not going to do that, but it can really speed up your coding. All right, so I have border width. I'm going to go ahead and do oh, that's not a semicolon, colon. That is also a very common mistake and is something you need to get used to looking for, is forgetting a colon or a semicolon or using the wrong one. That's, if your code breaks, that is the most common reason why, is you've forgot all those, you've used them wrong, or the curly braces that you forgot to close or open or what have you. Okay, so border width, I'm going to go ahead and do actually let's do 5 pixels so you can see it a little bit better. And next, like I said, we still don't see anything, even though I added a border width. I don't have a border yet. Like I said, we also have to give it a border style before it'll actually show up. So border style, I have a list here that it's giving me, but I actually know there's another one I can do called solid, and which is probably the most common that you actually want to do. All right, so then I now see the border, but I can control the color. So I'm also going to do border dash color and make it pink. Actually, let's go do a deep pink. Okay, and if I look over at my preview, I don't see a pink border. And this is also going to trick you a little bit if you're working in brackets. Wherever my cursor is in my file, it will highlight it or surround it with a blue border to show you where that element is. So right now it looks blue because my cursor is on that element. If I move my cursor, it's no longer highlighting that element and I can see the pink. So it didn't look pink just because it was selected over in my file. Okay, so that way of doing the border works. However, we can write our code in a cleaner way and write it in shorthand instead. This works with border, but it also works with most CSS properties where you have the first name the same. So where it's border width, border style, border color, border is the same. You'll see this later with font. We have font size, font family, font variance, font weight. Same thing there. Anytime you see that repeated over and over and over, they can be shorthanded where you combine the values under just one property, and it's usually that first name. So with border, instead of writing all 3 of these out, instead I can just do border, give it that colon, and then I combine my values. So to combine values, you just need to put a single space in between them. Nothing else, no comma or anything like that, just a single space. So for example, I wanted a 5 pix border, space, I want it solid, space, and I want it pink. So this is shorthand, it's a lot cleaner. I don't need to write it with 3 different properties, but I could. I get the same result. And we can also separate the borders out. So if I add all of these properties, it's going to add it to all 4 sides of an element. I don't have to though. I could say I want a border on the top, the bottom, the left, or the right. So to do that, I need to add that in to the property. So let's say I wanted this border to only be on the bottom of the element. I would do border dash bottom. or I could do border dash top, border dash right, border dash left. So when I do that, let me move my cursor. I can see now I've only added that border here to the bottom of the element.